Okay, time for another boombox. Who would have guessed? And this one is pretty much your typical El Cheapo Audiosonic. I'm pretty sure that brand was a Kmart brand. Don't know if it actually says anything about that on here. Audiosonic twin cassette recorder, made in Hong Kong. So it's an 80s sort of era, before it all went to China or even Taiwan. Oh man, the battery compartment is completely full of rotted battery. No surprises there. And it's basically missing the radio dial part, so this one I only sort of picked up really cheap just for a parts box if nothing else. Although amazingly I haven't really needed much in the way of parts other than belts. So it shows how good a lot of these things were still made. We've got a grass seed stuck in the speaker grill. And yeah, these horrible expanded plastic imitation expanded aluminium grills. Quite small speakers. Just basic auto stop. Nothing much else than that, so I'm not holding a lot of hope for this, but it may still be repairable more than likely. It's amazing how even these cheapo ones were surprisingly reliable, and at least they never have particularly difficult mechs to work on in them. They're always pretty easy to fix normally. You know, assuming you've got the motivation. Oh, look at that, you can see the cassette sticking up through the bottom of the tape holes there, so that's a bit of a weird one, but I do seem to vaguely remember some being like that. It's actually got a proper erase head in it, or at least on the deck that's got an erase head. Interestingly, it's got a fake erase head on the other deck, so normally they just leave a hole there. Not sure why they put that there. Maybe because there's an auto stop lever between the two heads. Maybe it's to get the tape tension there. I reckon that's what it'd have to be. That's one of the faults of putting a lift up style auto stop, is you probably need two sort of heads to hold the tape and then the tension to rise in between them. And actually possibly looks like either an LED's been ripped off the board there, or there never was one in there. The fact it's got a round hole, it must have had one in there, I think. But let's fire this thing up. And well, so far nothing. What do we got? Volume, we're probably on tape. I know. Oh god, the switch hardly even moves. Sleep tape radio. This one's not looking too promising for doing anything. Might be the first one that doesn't do a thing. Am I plugged in properly? I am. Well, it's very rare to see a boombox with no power, but it could be that switch. Sleep tape. I think that's clicking into radio. Oh, there's some pretty cheap nasty switches there. They hardly even move. Nice little slider pots, not cracking the case. Well, I think that is the first one with nothing, no power light, nothing. I might shake out any muck that's in there into a rubbish bin before I touch any of that, because I don't want to touch rusty, corroded stuff. But yeah, they did sell a lot of these sort of units. They're more like the sort of one Mum would buy herself to have in the kitchen or something. Not really, well, no, maybe just in the garden or something as a radio. Anyone who wanted a sort of serious boombox would probably want something a little bit better than one of these sort of $99 specials or whatever they were from Kmart. I doubt it was even that cheap with a dual tape deck in the 80s, but admittedly the fact it's got two tapes in it suggests it is a bit more of a serious unit, or for someone who's a bit more serious, because why would you bother getting two tapes otherwise, unless you want to lie by the pool and let it play from one deck and then the other, but then a tape deck with auto reverse would do the same amount of time anyway. Only really a twin auto reverse like that Toshiba one would actually give you a long play time. It's about the only reason you want it. I think these mounting posts are broken on the bottom. Sure feels like it. Something either that or the screws are rusted through or something. But yeah, these things sort of look cheap, feel cheap, but they sort of, you know, they did the job. They fitted a market segment for people who just wanted a basic unit, didn't want any flash stuff. Yeah, the front comes, this is getting like that, bringing back memories of the Pioneers, which I just finished, and that the front comes off. Oh, that's different. Okay, microphone out. So we've got two microphones stuck in the front, speakers attached. Ah, these are these decks. I was wondering about that. So I just actually pulled a JVC version of one of these apart. And I've got a silver one here. Where is it? Should be one right behind me, I think. Oh, there it is. Is it actually the same deck? It is. So this must have been a kind of Hong Kong special deck or something. But this is out of a silver branded one, which was a sort of Dick Smith Cheapo special, just a little single deck one. And this is more like the JVC, in that I think the JVC had the motor off to one side, so the manufacturers supplied their own motor bracket, their own heads, I think. And yeah, either had the JVC had the buttons flat like this other one always has the front mounted buttons. And looks like this has got what the JVC does, which is at least one split idler. I think one of the silvers had the same. That one's definitely got a little split in it. It's not too bad, this one. But I'm hoping that when I get some idlers from eBay, some Chinese specials there, that they actually fit these things, because this seems to be a common mech for the idlers splitting. I guess the next problem is to have a look, see if we've actually got power going to this thing at all. Now, can I get this back bit off too, as the other bit I was about to... Oh dear, well, I can break it. Should have known that'd be pretty brittle. There's something up with these screws. Oh, they're just being stubborn. Oh, they want to come out now. Oh, here it is. There's a broken post. Oh, mate, there's only one of them in the... Oh, that's the other broken one. I thought something else was broken, so I'm going to have to grab those with some pliers, or I might have better do it by hand. Oh, definitely not by hand. So obviously this case was already going brittle because it already had a split there and a couple of broken mounts. So again, this is what you got for the price. Cheap plastic that didn't last as well, but you know, to be fair, it outlasted the life expected of these things. I mean, most of these would have been on the dump mid to late 90s, I guess. Though of course they just kept running as a radio or something, so people just kept them going. But if they had any real use, they probably would have been worn out by then anyway. The decks would have stopped working. Though these mechs in these are surprisingly reliable. They're like what I'm finding now is they're actually a third kind of generic mech basically. There's the Tennishin or whatever it is, and the one that's around the same era that's a bit different. And these are like the earlier, these are the sort of 80s. Maybe, do they have dates on these? I don't think so. I can't remember when that JVC was made. I think it might have been around 83. So maybe the earlier 80s or something. They started in the lower end boxes or something going for these as a generic mech. I would assume it's a Taiwanese or Hong Kong made. So I guess it's in a way the early phase of the Chinese stuff. It's from that part of the world, I would guess. I can see something printed on that motor, but can't actually see what it says. That's got the same. I think they used to have a red label. These are EG510 ED6F2. So it's not a dual speed double by the look of it. Now, the more important thing, I wouldn't be surprised, I can see one of those motors has quite a bit of rust on it. Look at that screw, that's all rusted. Can I get rid of the antenna? Other than how it's hooked up in it, I think we can unscrew the antenna. It's glued on, isn't it? Wish they wouldn't do that, but there is a big solder blob on it, so I think we're unsolder that. That's simple enough. And again, we've got a good antenna by the look of it. Amazing. I seem to remember them having lots of broken antennas. Oh, I've got another mount here busted off. Oh, it's loose at least. Maybe that was one of the ones I undid. Don't know. Or did I just break that one off? Maybe when I pulled on that thing, but then again, I wouldn't have been able to pull against it to break it, I don't think. So I've got access to the board, and besides very rusty battery terminals and some rust on the edges, ugh, some weird thing that shot up my arm then, but that was just something with my nerves. I might just give that a squirt anyway, see if that lubricates it at all. It's meant to be a switch lubricant, but well, it seemed to, but then it didn't. No, it's actually made it worse maybe. These were always a bad idea if they didn't make the mechanical part right, just the leverage of these little levers on them. I think I've made it worse. And that again was a problem with your Kmart special from Hong Kong, is often these switches and stuff would fail in them. They just weren't very well mechanically built. Yeah, I think I've actually made it worse. Well, let's power it up again, just being careful as far as, I think 240 volt just goes straight into the transformer. And no, we don't get anything. Oh, volume's at max, we don't want that. So next thing is, well, first thing, start with the basics. And it's not surprising necessarily, it's just thermal fuse fitted, not surprising to find these transformers open circuit occasionally in these things. Thankfully it's not that. So I guess we're going to have voltage. Diode looks a bit iffy, but I think it's just a bit of flux. That big filter cap there is probably the first place to have a look. I still wouldn't be surprised if it's a function switch or something, because that's just the sort of thing. Normally the electronics is super reliable in these things, but it's always let down by things like switches. No voltage. You're kidding me. Ah, next thing will be the switch in this power socket maybe. What happens when I press that in? I can see something move. Funny thing is it doesn't seem to go apart altogether. That's been bent, I think. Yeah, well, it should be apart. You would think that switch would be apart when there's nothing plugged in, but it looks like it's touching. Let's turn the power off to the power cord. Put it in there, see if we get the two things conducting. There they are, I think. Okay, so oh, here we go. Two little, we've got a red and black wire. So there's not really much there. Oh wait, what's this other switch? Oscillator 1, 2, so that's probably like a beat. Yeah, that would be your oscillator frequency for the eraser or whatever. That's your beat switch, but they don't call it a beat switch. Can I make a good contact with these? They seem to have glue and muck all over them. Doesn't seem to be any voltage there. Well, next thing is look for volts AC. That's got to be the low voltage side, I think. Try these two blue wires. There you go, 7 volts. The red wire's probably half, is it, or something? Oh! There you go, it's trying to run. So we have maybe dicky solder joints on that socket, because this one I assume still is actually soldered to the board, even though it kind of doesn't look like it, but that is a common issue. Let's have a look what we got here. I think we've actually got a broken track there on that pin. Oh yeah, she's been smashed. This thing's copped a big whack, or the board, relative to the board or whatever. This red wire bit's fine, I think. This other bit's fine, but I reckon we can actually beep that out with a multimeter. We should find the red wire is all good. Those things are all connected, but this one not. And probably if I wobble it around enough, so that's the bit of track next to it. Oh, you can see the brake is going right across here somewhere. Maybe I can get a close up of that, but don't see it as often as you kind of expect to. Although I don't know if the camera's gonna. Let's see if we can, how close we can focus on it. Somewhere around there, so it's this, it's not the one with the red wire on it, it's this other pin here. When I wobble it around, you can see, I've actually scraped a bit of the green stuff off, but right down this little bit here, basically this, if I hold it up, if I move that socket, oh, you can, if I twist it's even more obvious, that this whole pad here is moving, you can see it open up a gap. Hopefully if it's reasonably focused, but it's opening up a gap to that circuit board track. So it's the usual old trick of scrape the green lacquer off and solder a bit of wire and a heap of solder over there. There's a bit of the track actually scraping off. Let's get that right out of there. Probably clean it up a little bit better. They do make a proper tool for scraping this stuff off. I'm not sure, it's probably in my toolbox in the car or somewhere still. But they made like a pen type thing. Wagner sold them. And you just sort of screw the end and it's like a whole bunch of little fiberglass fibers come out, and it's brilliant for cleaning that lacquer off. If you've got like a TV with a board cracked from one side to the other just about, or some great big area of tracks to do, it's the best thing ever invented. You can just quickly remove all the green lacquer. So I'll tin that. And I just had bits of wire to pull the speakers out on that. That's why I can't find any bits, because I was pulling speaker grills out on that Pioneer one that kept popping in. And I've left them on the other side of the bench. So I normally just bend a little bit like that. Solder it right across, get a great big flow of solder there. And where are my little side cutters? They'll do. And we'll double check it, I guess. We should have a nice connection from there to there. Hopefully I've actually moved that one a little bit over. I didn't rip that one in half, but you wouldn't believe it. I did rip it in half. I shouldn't have twisted it sideways, I guess, but that's a sign that that one was on its way as well. I guess ideally you might put some sort of glue or something, but you've only got the pins on this socket, not the mains ones, just the battery one, so it's going to be hard to glue anything any stronger. But it looks like I've open circuited this one now. But I was just thinking it, given that it was moving, it probably wants redoing as well. At least if you're doing a repair for a customer or something where you want it to last a while. Just that solder flow will do it. I just use this old, I managed to get a roll of old phone cable, single cord telephone cable that's actually tinned. Usually it's just copper under the plastic. And that has been my source of tin copper wire for ages now. Since the 90s, probably early 90s or something. It's been the best thing I've bought in a long time, because I never run out of tin copper wire, even though I've got to go the hassle of stripping it each time. But you can buy it in a roll from somewhere like JCar. So let's just double check. That pin should connect to that pin. That pin should connect to those. We've now got power going to the bridge rectifier. The rest of those connections look alright, I think, so we'll screw that one back in place if I can get all those cables down in there. That used to be a pretty common fault to have to repair in these things. Loose power socket causing intermittent or no power issues. Usually they'll come to life when you're fiddling around with the plug or something. That's why I was fiddling around with it before a bit. Make sure it was in and make sure it wasn't a loose connection, but this one's a bit too broken, I think. So at least we've got power now. Balance and volume's up high. Volume scratchy, of course. Tone's a bit dodgy, to say the least. Let's give those a flood of contact cleaner. Bit of dust there, that wants to go. Yep, tone's good now. Yeah, the switch is pretty dicky. Usually it's like mechanically worn out inside. You might be able to pull into bits if you're really super careful and lubricate the mechanical parts in there. It's not too bad, although I'm doing it from the outside. Ooh, that's dicky in the contacts by the sound of it. Didn't I? I did clean that one too. Maybe it didn't get right in there. Or is that some other issue? Who knows? There's an antenna now, have we? Sounds pretty horrible and distorted, but is that just the FM or something else? And oh, is that it for the dial maybe? That must be as far as it goes. It's a lot of multi-pass signal here. You know, that doesn't sound too bad on that channel, so I think it's just multi-path on the others and bad signal basically.
45 RPM with Flowers, who later changed its name to Ice House, a top 10 single from the early 80s. Coming up, Cam and a Lost 45 from the era.
Yeah, I thought that was something to do with the Ice House, but I couldn't remember what the hell it was. Now, that's the radio. Oh, I better check AM, I guess. How do we check AM? Where's the band switch? Oscillator. Oh, on the end here. Oh, that's probably what scratchy is. The yes, a rusty old AM FM switch. Can't even get it to slide. Yeah, it sounds like AM.
Tamil moderate who was murdered by the Tigers in her 30s, and so her daughters, who were I think aged 8 and 10 at the time.
Now I can't change to FM.
With Linda P. Normie Rowe became Australia's top teen idol in the 60s, recording It Ain't Necessarily So, Shaken All Over and Que Sera Sera.
So let's try the tape decks, finally. Oh, nothing happening there. I don't think we have to go on a tape, do we? Oh, yeah, let's fast forward. Oh, rewind. Don't think I have to actually switch to tape. I don't know. Maybe it just didn't run. Here we've got play. This actually seems to be running. Except, where's my pinch roller? Huh. Okay, so the head's come down, but no pinch roller. That's a rarity as well. That one's got everything. And yeah, even with those, with at least one cracked idler and very old idlers, this thing's actually pretty much working. So they're quite a resilient old deck. And we got no audio. Hang on, we're on radio. Sounds terrible. Yep. Oh, what's crackling? There's still something crackling here somewhere. Some power thing. Never like it when you get crackling noises. Old switches in the tape decks probably haven't been used. God, you can barely get your fingers in there to get the tapes out, so that's another horrible. Ugh, wow, that one goes. I'm not sure where that one goes. Is that in? Something to do with that pinch roller, man. It's pushing back up quite a bit. Can't really shut that door. Yeah, these are really horrible cheap doors. So you don't really have room to get your finger over the tape to grab it. You really, it's one of these you've got to put your fingers on the end or something. I mean, the door's so deep on that side, and then there's no room on the other side, and it's kind of flimsy and trashy. And yeah, other door. Not sure it's that spring pushing it up. What is going on there? Sometimes these springs on the side, they're meant to hold the tape in place. I think those are a bit bent. If they're loose, yeah, so that tape just falls in. That tape, you've got to push it in a bit. It's not a lot of tension, but that end's got a fair bit on it. And if you don't get that right, the tape may lift or something It feels like it's hitting something. It's hitting on that motor, I think. Which is kind of crazy because I got those funny motors. It's at the right height because the reels are going into it, but it won't go on. Sometimes you just got to spring those bits of metal out a bit more, just bend them back out for a bit of tension on them. Yeah, that's a bit better, I think. I think that one's out a bit too. See if that holds it a bit better at least. Yeah, it's getting in the right spot now, so it's not lifting, but it's... I can't see what's blocking it, but is it something to do with the pinch roller or something? They look like they're in about the same spot. Oh, the actual the auto stop is down. If I push that up a bit, will that allow the tape in? Yeah, there you go. It's the auto stop lever. It's not too happy. I really want to fast forward, it's good, but in play mode, oh, I've got no pinch roller, that's why. Oh, now I can't get it out. Oops. Big mistake. Why won't that come out? Don't know, I just forced it, whatever it was. Okay, let's get the front back off if I can. Why won't it come off? Oh, there's little clips on the top of it. Is there any way of unplugging the speakers? Oh, there is. Ah. Well, fancy that. Even the cheapo one's got a plug there, which is nice. Not going to be an easy one to get from one side of the deck to the other, probably, but let's get rid of that and see what is going on. Some power would be good as well. Oh, pinch roller's actually popped off the post there. There's a... Did I see that? I saw a round piece of plastic here somewhere and wasn't taking much notice of it. Where'd that go? Of course, you just see some piece of rubbish on the bench and think, oh, I wonder what that is. Oh well, I won't take any notice, and then when you want it, it's gone. I think that might have been the little piece that held the pinch roller in. Oh, got a little piece of, is that cassette or door? Where did that go? I saw it there and it's now gone. But I think that was a little cap off that pinch roller like that one. I assume it's some sort of little post that goes in and pops off. Even with that split idler, that's got tons of torque. And we've got the other issue, why does this sit? Oh, probably because it's related to the fact that this pinch roller is sitting up in the... Oh, it's actually... Oh, the whole deck's popped up. Oh, the whole thing just lifts up. Even worse. Is that because... Possibly because the pinch roller... Or have we got something broken here? Let's see if I can get that off. It's got a spring going down. I think that's just missing its clip. But why does this other deck seemingly lift up really loosely? Well, because the spring... God, is it really that cheapo? The spring on the back of the pinch roller here actually is meant to go and slot into a little piece on that mech, if I can grab it, and it goes down that slot. I mean, it's kind of efficient use of materials, I guess, and that's probably all that holds that in. Still tighter than the other one though. No, that's got a bit of play in it. That's got more play in it, but I wonder if that's all it really... God, if that can't be right. If the head's that loose, you're not going to have very good azimuth. That one's got a little bit of play now. Something's probably broken in this thing. So it's looking more like a spare parts machine as I originally envisioned it. But it'll actually be good to have a few spare ones of these mechanisms. Even though I've got a sewer that's probably only good for the scrap heap because I already had to pull a broken button out of it. And the case is horrible on it. There's got to be a screw there somewhere, isn't there? Oh, there it is, hiding under the motor wiring. And yeah, this boombox just doesn't have any class really at all. It's just cheapo and plasticky, and the plastic's going brittle. It feels horrible. But if you just set it in the kitchen or something and didn't really use it much, it would be fine as a radio or the occasional tape player. What do we got here? This is the head wiring, which is kind of hanging in there. Can I slide this out, or do I need to remove this radio? I can just get it. There you go. If you jiggle the wires out of the way, belt's still surprisingly good, but it is getting a bit lumpy, and yeah, it doesn't take too much to stop it. Oh, that head's actually loose on the screw, so. But the more important is why is this whole piece of mech lifting? Something there must be. I wonder if there's a bit of plastic that's meant to slide up in and out there, or something that's broken like on this other end. So maybe that's even why. Maybe it was some sort of physical force or something. That's why the pinch roller has lost its little piece. Where'd I put that other deck? It is the same deck, isn't it? Yeah, it's definitely the same. No, it's not. Yes, it is. Just looks so different upside down. So this, so I reckon that's a little pin bit that pulls out. Why? I reckon some sort of slidey bit here should slide up and down a slot, and it's broken off. It's very hard to see without having to pull all the. I don't want to move any of the slide bars for the tape deck, but see, this is a good. Oh, this has got the wrong sort of buttons on it. What a shame. You'd have to change the slide bar. So I was thinking this mech could be used, because that was a split one, and I've put a O-ring on there, but it was pretty useless as expected. And we've got one of these. Yeah, that button's snapped off, so I pinched that for the other one. These other ones I think are just falling off. But I can't even steal the mechanism and swap the heads and whatever over to repair the other, although possibly that slide part could maybe be fixed. But what I do need to try and work out is how do I get that piece out, and I guess a scrapped one is the best place to find out. Can we lift the whole pinch roller up and push it out? I reckon it's just a little pin thing that goes down, and if you're very careful, there we go. Yeah, what I saw lying around on the bench here, so it's just like the flat head part of it. I don't think it had the other bit. Didn't seem to be anything sticking up, so I assume that's broken off and inside that other one somewhere. Go away, button. I should have just thrown that button away, I think. Habit is to always put them back on in case for some reason you want them or something. But so if we take the pinch roller out, this mech barely lifts up. And there's a slot under here, which I'm guessing is the bit that whatever's meant to hold it. So you've got one little plastic pin here, the metal bit slides around. And there's possibly something over here that slides up a slot. Or is there? Quite hard to see, basically. But my guess would be that big slot there should have a plastic piece off this plastic. So probably if we took the heads off, I wonder if we can take this plastic bit. I haven't really got much to lose with this, so it might be a good chance to learn something, I guess. Well, the heads are already loose, so it's not going to matter a damn if I unscrew it completely. Just try not to lose. There'll be a spring under here somewhere on one of the sides. There it is, a little screw with spring assembly, and the other side is just a screw which basically screws up against this plastic bit. So this whole plastic bit's loose, which again makes me think that's the bit that's broken. Probably if we undo with the heads, that plastic bit comes loose. Yeah, and this is our fake erase head. It's basically literally looks like the case of an erase head, but nothing inside it, and it doesn't have the hole for the little face piece. I'm guessing this piece, this plastic bit here, somehow, we've got a washer coming off there. There's a spring that's going to have to go. Whoa, it went alright. At least it didn't go in my eyeball. So I thought that was poked down in something, but geez, it had some real force on that one. See what? Oh, actually, let's get this pinch roller out of the way. We don't need that there either, do we? Oh, I've got that spring underneath. Did the other one have a spring on that mech? Where'd the pinch roller go? Oh, it's got this, well, it's got one. This has got a double spring or something, unless that's not meant to be there. They're the same. This has got this other spring here. I don't know if that's, well, it must be meant to be there, mustn't it? The other one didn't have that, interestingly. The things you find, eh? I'll leave that there for the minute. So that's our little erase, auto stop lever. Does this, oh yeah, I reckon this whole bit, does it? That should slide down the mech and come off completely, but this bit says something on this end is trapping it in there. I reckon you've got to rise, oh, we can press the button, can't we? Yeah, then that piece lifts out, and I'm guessing there's a second one. That piece there should slide. I got this pin in the way. What's that pin? That's blocking us. So I'm assuming we've got to take, what is that? Part of this idler, I think. So you've got to take this idler piece off, I guess. So it means you've got to take the capstan off. But yeah, it would be nice to have a name for this style of mechanism. A manufacturer or whatever. No doubt I've probably seen it written in some manual somewhere once in the past and never took the slightest notice. Get that plastic washer back on there. So then if we can lift this, but the big question is, how does that come off? Is there a clip or something? Spring's falling off there. Ah, this bit's a lot more complicated. It's got a plastic bit over the top. Is that part of that bit? Yeah, that's definitely where that little pin... Oh, maybe if we just... Can I just move that to one side or something and it comes up? I don't think so. Oh yeah, we're nearly there. That's the key, I think, just to get that little pin through this hole. And what should be missing is, yeah, that bit there would be meant to have a little T-piece on it. That one's busted off. So in theory, I could change that off that other mechanism. I don't know why I'd want to bother, but I really need a new idler for it as well. But that would be, and that's actually split on the face of that capstan housing as well, which probably doesn't matter. But in theory, this mech I should be able to do the same procedure of sliding the whole head assembly off once I take this slide bar off. Which I'm kind of sick of this thing having this plastic slide bar on it anyway, with broken buttons and buttons hanging off. So I really need to start a new drawer or something to throw all my cassette player parts in. Because I just used to have a few mechanisms lying around, so if a spring got lost or something, if I was working on it, or if there was just something broken, same kind of scenario like this, you'd just salvage it out of a second-hand one a lot of the time, because otherwise a lot of them did sell whole new mechanisms and stuff. It wasn't worth fixing the things pretty much. If I haven't done the right thing here, I don't think I have. Ah, so that's nothing to do with that. What I've got to do is take this bar off. I was thinking this was like the later ones where you'd unscrew a couple of screws at the ends and the whole button assembly can be removed, but this one you take a circlip off and slide it out. They're actually, the end parts of the bracket are moulded into the original chassis. God, that does not want to come out. It doesn't help when you've got so many buttons on here. I should be able to slot that out. Sometimes you just got to pull really hard because they're all kind of clipped on. There we go. Get rid of all that plastic button assembly. Oh, they've actually got springs underneath them as well. Oh, God. There's always something. They should. You've got to lift the spring, I think, and just push them through. There goes the broken one. Yeah, just lift that spring and out it comes. Lift it, pull it. Lift it, pull it out. So that is nothing like most of them. Normally they just all fall out and make a mess everywhere, but these are a bit different. L3080 412. I don't know if that's anything to do with the date it was made. Probably not. Now, did I have to take the heads actually off that? I think I might have. Let's put that spring back before I lose it, even though I don't know why it's got one. Well, we don't want the heads anyway, because they're all going to be different in each unit. Although, to be fair, the erase head, well, that one's a fake one anyway, but you could just swap this one. I could just cut the wires off and put it in there and do as a fake, as a dummy erase head. There's that little flat screw. Of course, they're full of lacquer and glue and stuff. Oh, there's that little dangerous spring that likes to fling off. I'll leave that to last because I forgot that was even there until now. And again, one of these is going to have the spring and everything attached. Let's unclip those, the head wires. Can probably take them right off now. Yep. So a couple of heads on fly leads there. Handy for a silver, and that's about it. So this is already... Oh, this is sitting higher because the mech's got that. Yeah, I was going to say it looks a lot higher up the mech, but this mech's got this all this extra bit underneath it. Yeah, I don't know that I even had to take that spring out, to be honest. I can get that to there and get this out of the way. Maybe I can slot the whole lot off in one piece. Another little thing there, but that does... Oh, that's right, I took this piece off, didn't I? Oh, that's right, I never took that bit off, or did I? Oh no, I did take that piece off. I took the whole plate. Oh, there's a screw here that's actually stopping things. Where on earth is it though? Ah, it's under that idler. Did the other one have that? It did. Well, how the hell did I get it? Oh, because see, it's catch-22. Well, not really catch-22, but the other one, because the mech was broken and I could lift this back bit up, I could get it out without taking that screw out. Now I find that life isn't that easy after all. So this is going to be much more of a disassembly of this unit. Interestingly, this one looks like that idler though can come off because I've taken this screw off, I hope. I think that's what I'm looking at. Oh, maybe not. Oh, who knows. Now I have to take the eject thing off and take the whole motor thing off because it wants to be difficult. So this is going to be a major disassembly, but I just lost a piece too, but I don't really care because I don't think that eject mechanism's ever going back in place. Now this is a separate piece. Try and keep all those bits in a different pile so I don't try and put them back in that one. Do I need to take the motor off? Don't know, but I might take it off anyway. Then I don't have to deal with that in the way. And that can be one of the new motors in my collection. I used to have tons of cassette motors I saved out of things and then I chucked them all in the scrap metal, I think. And admittedly I haven't needed a single one since. But it would have been nice to keep a few of them. So what have we got here? Some little circuit board with a switch and stuff mounted in there. I might dispose of that as well. Everyone does things differently in these things. That gets rid of all of the wiring. But yeah, you can see how quickly this is going to deteriorate into 1,000 different bits and pieces. I think that one's just pushed through, yeah. And that's got the same spring and washer, which of course the washer never goes back on the shaft. Out. You little... Oh, now he's just disappeared right under there, I think. Oh yeah, the idler assembly comes out of this one, so that's good. Oh well, it looks like that plastic washer may have been lost, or... Oh, there he is, he's coming out again. Come here, you little... Unbelievable. Again, always worth keeping all these bits in case you either work on the same deck again and lose one of them or something, or just for general use in any other deck that may have something similar. It's nice to have a junk bin for that sort of stuff. So this screw is what I'm trying to get to. Finally, after much disassembly, that screw has to at least be loosened off. Then I think this unit, yeah, that pin's gone that the idler was on, so that's not in the way. But oh, we've got another issue. That other one didn't have a spring there, I don't think. So it's either lost it. It's got the hole for it. Oh, maybe that's what that. Maybe that other spring is for this instead or something. Maybe that spring down near the pinch roller does the job of this one. It's possible it's something like that, like returning this up or down or whatever it does. So now there's something else here catching. Is it that piece? Seems to be... a little piece going down through a little hole there. Is that my imagination? No, that's flat, so it's not that. What is it? There's a piece there. It's always different the second time. And the other option is to, can I take this plastic bit off? I've got that piece out. I don't know that we've got the middle piece out, because we definitely don't want to break the middle piece, because that's what we're here for. Something still... It's this thing here, I think. So there's nothing stopping it going any higher. Oh, some grit in this one. Oh, here we go. Just got to push it a bit further, I think. Yeah, that's got the little flat bits. That's got the little flat bits, as predicted. And I need a brush to get rid of this. Oh, almost like sand it feels like in this thing. Not sure if it's quite that bad. Whoops, the plastic's escaping, especially with that spring there. So you can't even risk cleaning the damn thing with that spring attached. Ah! There goes the spring. Anyway, I think it'll be easy to assemble like that. Yeah, I don't know, I might have to take that other spring off, I think. Maybe I should just leave it there for now, but just remember that's there. So we've got to come right up here and get it over that plastic bit at a minimum. But do we have to bring the other bits? There's a little mount here, maybe that was what was resisting in the end. Doesn't want to go in. Ah, reminds me, we've still got a screw in this one. And how do I get this? This has got some sort of stick-on thing again. The question is how... Oh, it's another one of those pins, I think. Same thing as the... spring fell off again. Pinch roller. Oh, I do not like these because they do break easy, and yeah, you'd never get another one these days, so they're possibly both the same. That one I'll put it on the capstan is the idler one. Now is there a... Well, there's other bits here that hold it together, isn't there? So you've got this piece up on the top. I think we're just going to take this bottom bit out. No. That's a bit of an interesting design. Maybe just lifting that up's enough to get the idler, the screw, sorry, out. Do I have to bend this piece up or something? Or do I have to, maybe I have to go a particular button? No, nothing changes any of those. Maybe I have to take the idler out to, oh hang on, here we go. Move the idler across. That starts getting that piece wanting to come out. Is it enough though? It's very close, but I think it's telling me I need to take this idler piece. Well, this is no fun. You think, oh, this will be a nice quick swap over part, and 2 hours later, you're still pulling it to bits. I really probably should have took that idler tyre off, I guess. Oh, this is just getting out of control. Yeah, I think the idler actually has to come off the arm. I don't know, why do people make things like this, but I guess they haven't got much choice fitting all these bits in there. Okay, take that very small clip off. I'll put that on the capstan as well. I'll be lucky if I find all these bits again. Okay, idler. Idler bracket. Should come off with spring and everything. Now this thing should swing across. Does it still not go enough to come out? It's starting to get annoying now. Yeah, that's nowhere near coming out. I think we just here just push it. It comes out now. If you give it enough force, so if we undo that screw just enough to drop it, and maybe a couple more turns, I don't know. I thought that was flat, but it's not. I might have to take that spring off, I think, because I don't know if I'll get it off otherwise. Which bit is the bit attached to the rest of the spring. They've really bent it well. Let's put that on the pile. Now it's stuck in the carpet. Put on the pile of the other stuff to worry about if we need it. So where did this go? Oh, that paste thing's gone, has it? Oh, was that? Yeah, we're meant to be in play mode, I think. So put play mode back up because that bit lifts. Or did that lift up under it? We'll never know. Yeah, that's that piece in place. I probably should be putting a bit of new oil on some, new grease on some of this while I'm at it, but let's just see if we can actually reassemble it first. Soon put a bit of grease on afterwards, I think. So now, yeah, no, that's not going to work, I don't think, because we've got to get this bit. If we slide it up under there, I've got to get that put in and then slide the whole plate up. We can get that down in the hole, hopefully. That, again, we're hitting things. Which mongrel is getting in my way now? This lever that is pushed up. Yeah, that's not a great design, that. I think we've got to get that down, then carefully push these plastic bits up a bit higher. Yeah, now we're getting somewhere. Yeah, that's slotted in. Everything's slotted in as it should be, I think. Oh, we still got this piece. But, oh no. I forgot that came out. Now can I get it back in? It goes under here somewhere, and where does the end of it go? Oh, it comes up. This one has it above the pinch roller thing. So, oh, it goes in that slot there, obviously. It goes on top, yeah. So it definitely, the pivot points under that plastic bit must have a pivot thing there. Yeah, that's it. So you've got to get the pin down the side of that bit. Ah, you little son of a... Okay, now you got it. Oh, I see. That probably just goes into the same hole at the same time. That's why it suddenly shot off. There's a big long slot, but the other one's up against a little metal pin here, and I can't really grip that. So I'm just putting I'll put the idler assembly back in. I think I've got the right screw to go in that one. And then we can put the idler tire on the other side. Hopefully. Maybe, oh, I should have probably left that loose until I put the idler tire on that big long shaft, shouldn't I? Oh, are you kidding me? Yeah, that's because I took it off after, didn't I? And of course the camera right in the critical bit. The camera goes and does its 30-minute timeout like stupid Canon does. I don't know what that feature's supposed to do, but it is always fails at the critical time. And if I don't remember it, it can be who knows how long. There's got to be a way of getting that in there, hasn't it? Do I shove it under that piece a bit? Yeah, I think I've just got to dive under there a bit, get it down into its position. Now this lever's catching on things. That's it. Get that down in there like that, I think. Try and... I don't know if I can get the clip back on that one. Oh yeah, we're in position to do so. Hang the spring on to the hook. Swing this across. Now that I find this actually goes on easy. Yeah, like that. Put that little screw back in. So at least that bit's in place. Now the hole's moved. Or at least the bit's moved on the hole. Get the little clip washer thing back on that. Oh, we're nearly there. That is an art and a half doing that by sticking it to your finger. So now, well, the whole annoying thing is I really still need to get that idler out at some point and replace the tyre on it. But let's be content with that for now. Is that meant to be up in the air like that? Seems a bit... What pushes on that? Something must push on that. Oh, maybe it just gets pushed on the other end? Oh, does it just swing up on its own? I think it's only the play idler. Press play down and it sort of drops. Yeah, that's right, this thing moves and that just follows it, doesn't it? That's right. That is one of the features of this mech. So yeah, we've got the pinch roller back in with the 2 springs under it. That's that bit. We're running out of bits that are loose here at least, so that's a good sign that we are. We can't do anything with that until we've got a capstan. So, ooh. Now where did that other clip? Oh yeah, just where you remembered, or reminded me. The other clip was sitting on the capstan. That holds the idler in place. The capstan's got its bits on there. I should really clean that and probably lube it, but let's just get it back together for now. Plenty of time for doing that some other day. Ironically, this one thing I probably won't do this with this tape deck is give it a service after all this work. And there's our head, and we need, oh, what was that washer off? Oh no, that was no. Anything but that. That washer is what held that spring on a bit, or helped hold it on. I don't think the spring will come off. It better not. Now I've got all this butchered screws to work with again. Lacquer on everything. I did them up too tight. Actually, I don't even need to take it right off. I guess that spring was just holding that. Sorry, that washer was just holding that sort of spring in place, I think. Keeping it a bit more solidly mounted so it's not just relying on the plastic erase head or whatever. So I'll better put that back. Oh no, now this screw's come out and doesn't seem to want to go back in. Where's the hole gone? Ah, oh, this plate's moved. Oh yeah, this plate light's moving, that's right, the spring, I forgot, the spring pushes this plastic plate down, which means the holes don't line up. And I can't screw the head back on, but I need to screw the head back on to stop the plate moving. Now I can put the other head back on, hopefully. It's got the spring with the spring, what do I keep calling them springs? Screw with a spring. I think the head goes with just the head of the screw above it, yeah, and a washer and a spring underneath it. And now try and get all that to stand up right and go down the hole. That's the fun bit. I think we got it. Yay. Other head on. I think we've actually pretty much reassembled it. There's no bits left off this deck that I can see besides the belt. Doesn't this have a... These don't even have a pause button. The cheapskate so-and-so's didn't put a... Here, they've missed a whole button out. Well, I guess it's not really a lot of point if you're not going to be recording or whatever. That pinch roller still doesn't look right to me. Or is that just my imagination? Hang on. It's because even though I've got the springs through this other bit, I don't think they're in the right spot on the pinch roller. Oh no, they do sit in that little cup thing, do they? Why has it got another little slot? Anyway, so these pinch rollers have different brackets on them. So I'm not seeing any idler action here. That's play. Idler's intact, everything's beautiful. In rewind, these gears should be... now did I take a spring off that? I say I definitely did, but I don't remember taking a spring off that. Ah, yeah, that, yeah, there you go. The mechanism is meant to push it, it's not sprung. In play mode, it swings across, it runs a little play idler. In rewind, yep, beautiful. In fast forward, nothing pushes on it. Oh no, don't tell me something was different here somewhere. Or have I got it in the wrong spot? In that mode, it's... As the piece comes up, it just doesn't move it. Oh, in the other mode, this bit pushes on it. In that mode... I don't know, have I got it in the wrong place or something? That can move. Which one doesn't work? That one. Well, it's the same, all these parts are the same. So in that mode, this angle bit comes down, pushes it hard against that side, and naturally it works on that one. In this mode, this all comes down and jams it that way, like that. it's either got to swing back and hit that piece. Even that's not enough. Hang on, it might be if I press the button. Oh yeah, now it's got enough room to move. It's not because of the belt or something, is it? You never know. I'm not being silly. Some of these decks use like the belt tension or something to swing things across. So I better not presume anything, I guess, yet. So with the motor, let's put the belt on and just see before I jump to silly conclusions here. I think, yeah, because that belt pushes that way, is it? Oh, how does this... this even doesn't look right. Oh, the belt must... Yeah, it goes around that side. That must be how it went. Yeah, so that's pulling on it. Yeah, it's just the belt, I think. Oh no, what? Oh, that's play. Yeah, this is pulling across. That should turn that way. That's... Keep turning it. Yeah, I think it's the belt. Yeah, that swings across. It's not a lot of tension, but if I had a decent belt in there... Well, only one way to find out is hook up power. First rule of repairs is don't chase faults that don't exist because you're not sure how the mech works or something. So play's good. Amazing amount of torque there for a knackered old idler. That's fast forward. Not so much torque, but mind you, this belt is not the best. But I reckon that's where it's going to play up first, is that one where it's reliant. Yeah, so you can stall that particular one. Have I got any of those belts left? So a slightly tighter belt actually could be a bit of a advantage here on this one. That should give it a bit more tension than the previous one. Let's see if that gives more torque in... Oh, that I can barely stop. So as we go with more torque in that mode, it shouldn't make any difference in play really, but yeah, even play's got more, I think. And that, yeah, it's not as good, but yeah, that's tough to stop. Which button? Stop. So I think that's a goer. We've fixed all the problem. Pinch roll is engaging. The heads will need an alignment, of course. Well, the fake erase head doesn't need an alignment. We don't have to care about it. I'll chuck that old belt out. Might as well just leave that kit belt in there. Even though it's hardly worth putting a new belt in this thing. Those eBay ones, the beauty about them, they're so cheap you don't really care if you waste a few of them, and there's going to be a few left over to throw out anyway, I think. But that is how you basically swap that whole part of that mechanism. Let's wrap it. Seems to twist whatever I do, doesn't it? I don't want twisted wires. And if I can get that mech back in there, I think we're basically... Well, I didn't really check it too well, but that is probably going... The other mech didn't sound the best. Something sounds even a bit distorted in this thing, but I could be wrong about that. I'm going to screw that deck back in. But at least either way, I've got a spare deck of that sort. Although probably the other sort might have been more useful. Who knows which one you're going to need next. But at least this has two good decks in it now. So it's not just a complete piece of rubbish. I can always just leave this lying around in case I need to pilfer a deck out of it. Because I know that the JVC that I'm waiting on... Oh, what am I waiting on for the JVC? Oh, I need an idler for it. I need one of these idlers. Well, the other thing I could do with that JVC is pinch the one out of that one, and we can scrap this one potentially, so I might even do that. But I'll wait until the eBay stuff turns up. Should that head be there or somewhere slightly different? If I can get them from eBay new ones, we're going to need them, so that'll be handy. If not, if worse comes to worse, this becomes a donor idler. And we get the JVC going, because that's a nicer deck, even though it's nothing special. I prefer to have that than to have this. Oh no. We've got something rubbing on wires, I think. What did I do? Where's the capstan up there? What's it touching on? Can't see anything. It's not the head wires because they're out of the way. I've got them out of the way. There's always something. That's why digital music is so much better. No moving parts. Oh, well, it is the head wire. Ha, you're a moron. I think that head wire's meant to go over the deck. I just realised, of course, the belt comes back to the motor here, and that head wire's right in the way. And that's the problem. I've spent so much time fixing the deck, I've completely forgotten anything I did before. Oh, go away, dial cord. I'm not trying to play a tune at the moment. That must go over here. Would have been maybe probably under that one. Yeah, because of course the belt comes right up under the motor here, and I put the silly head cord there. All that work fixing it and then do something silly at the end. But yeah, that's a lot more fiddling around than you'd normally want to do, but it's got to the stage where if you want to keep these things going, even the ones that use the cheaper mechs, and that's the sort of work we're going to have to learn to do, because no deck should go in the dumpster basically without having all those sort of parts pinched out of it. That's a bit better. We're nice and silent now. I guess I'll give the heads a quick tweak. Let's get them in the ballpark. Got any audio? No. Oh, we've got no speakers, have we? That good old trick. That's the one thing you always forget with boomboxes. It's half the time I don't have any audio. Now, where did the plug go? Oh, it's on the back there. And of course I've recorded all over everything. The switches are rather noisy. May well be the way it is, because it's a bit of a cheapo unit. Oh, that doesn't sound too bad. Oh, what I was going to do, I think, was just, I'm not sure if it was even slow. I think I just had to align the head again. Some a bit of wow in it, I think. That motor certainly doesn't look the best. It's got a lot of rust on it. Well, not a lot, a bit. So let's get, I bet it'll try and chew it. They always try and chew your test tape. Let's see if this one does. It'll suddenly stop working now. Well, it's going, but we've got a bit of substantial wow in that by the sound of it. To me that still sounds a little bit slow, but I could be wrong. I'm going to have to turn on the horrible... Well, let's work out how to hook to this thing first. Oh well, we've got external microphones, headphones and external speakers. It's got the works on this thing. So I can use an RCA to 3.5 adapter out of the speakers on the dreaded noisy frequency counter, which doesn't actually sound very noisy at all to the ear, but that microphone picks it up because it's not far from it. Ah, yeah, that fixed it, sort of. So we're now at 0.95, so yeah, we're definitely running a bit slow. Ah, now do these have the motor speed? They should have it under the paper badge, is it? Paper label, I should say. What am I calling it a badge for? Oh, there it is. I was going to say it's not there, but there it showed up eventually. Just had to rip the right bit off. It's quite a small hole. I was expecting a bigger one. Yeah, so we've got 954. And we got slower. 978, 980. 1009, your screwdriver out for the pot to settle. And you've got to also be careful not to short them to the case sometimes. 1001. Oh, it's gone up back up to 3, down to 0. And of course we've got a 5 kilohertz, 10 kilohertz, whatever that is. It's saying 4 kilohertz. I thought that was higher than that. So it's around the 1 kilohertz, not far off. Let's try the other deck. Oh, this is actually the other thing I found. It's got a switch between the decks. You don't get sound out of the deck unless you switch it to the right. I'm not sure that's working. That switch is rubbish. As you can hear. I don't know if I actually cleaned the contacts in that. I don't think I did. I can feel something rubbing on that one or something. Or the motors. Listen to that wow. And it's running a bit slow. I've got to rip the label again, haven't I? Where is the hole? I'm just going to go through with a screwdriver. Oh, this one, yeah, you turn the pot the opposite direction to usual, and counterclockwise to speed it up, which they're usually the opposite. Right on 1000, 999, 997, 8. Yeah, that deck, well, we haven't even looked at that deck, so I can't blame me for that making rattling sort of noises or thumping noises or something. But these decks, I don't think I've ever seen one give great wow and flutter, but these old motors are probably getting pretty old now too, which doesn't help. It's interesting because it's not really making a clumping noise without a tape in it. I'd say the belt's probably a tad slippery in that. We had a little bit of a clicking sound in the gears. Let's put a different tape in there and see what it does. So when I set it like that, as soon as I move it, it stops. I think that's the motor. I accidentally whacked when I was trying to tap the case to get the screw to drop out. I accidentally whacked the screwdriver not that hard on the knob, and that just disintegrated as well. So that shows you the sort of quality plastics they used in these. Absolute top notch, of course. It probably would look impressive if you dropped it from a large height on the concrete, because it would probably just disintegrate into 1,000 pieces. But yeah, we're missing the radio bit anyway. I don't think I'll even bother giving it a final test. That one can go on the junk heap. Lovely little thing that it is. If at least had the radio dial, I probably would have maybe tried to get it going. I must admit, I'm not sure I can be bothered. I think we'll open that up and shove the knob in there. Not that it's much good anymore. It's got a nice antenna on it that I can probably steal and use in something. But like I say, it's like $5 or something, I think, for that one. It just saved it from going in the e-waste, really. And finally, I've got a few, a rusty one can go in the rubbish. A couple of spare long screws are always handy to have. So thanks for watching on that one.